Guys, steering is 50% of the hobby for us. As you know, there's throttle, brake, and then obviously you've got your steering. Now, a lot of us will scrimp, save, cheap out sometimes on servos just to get us by, especially in bashing. As long as the wheels are straight, sometimes when you're hitting a ramp, or if you're someone like myself who loves the ground bashing side of it, as long as you can get around that corner, you know, servo's a servo.
You're in dire need of an upgrade. Systemic, top to bottom. 100-point restoration, that's why I'm here.
Servo. But as time goes by, and obviously maybe your requirements in the hobby may change, you do tend to look for a better servo. In this video, what we're going to do is have a quick look over a few servos that have been sent to me by a new channel sponsor, MKS, and I think some of these might be actually really good for you guys. Come on then. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Chris with a C. Hope you are doing well. Thank you very much for joining me today. Now guys, as I mentioned in the intro to the video, servos often get overlooked in a hobby. I mean, we normally pick up, let's say, an RTR. We go and grab the car, bring it out. And sometimes when we get out there in the field and we're bashing around on the floor, chasing after, you know, friends with their RCs, or maybe hitting a ramp, landing roughly, those cheaper servos that have been put in by the manufacturer can sometimes let us down in a big way. And then obviously it's just natural. Through the hobby, you then go looking for a better servo. Now, I'm quite guilty of it. Sometimes I will just look at a cheap servo, and as long as it does, I don't know, let's say the steering, for me, I like to have a fast steering. As long as the steering's nice and fast, or maybe something really torquey to get, you know, keep those wheels nice and straight as you pin it and hit a ramp, that's absolutely fine. But as time goes by, like myself, I've kind of got into the race kits, and you know, it's a little bit of heritage in the background, something I used to do previously. I'm looking for faster response times, better kilograms, a better made servo, metal gears, something cordless, digital. And MKS reached out to me, and I want to say a huge thank you to MKS for asking me to do these videos. Guy, they sent over in this little brown box by here a package that for me to try out. Now, what I'm going to do is I will go down on the desk and show you exactly why I think obviously these servos might be a good option for you. And the thing is, pointing out, let's say we're talking about this RC8B 3.2. A lot of the times when I'm out there kind of bashing around with friends, it's nice to have that little bit of an edge, especially if I'm racing around kind of on grass and we're all kind of chasing each other, to have that kind of sharper turning, the more power, the more accurate. And even if you're a guy who actually races these properly, response time, kilograms, durability is definitely something that you should be looking at. Now, I'm not saying that a lot of you should go out and spend hundreds upon hundreds of pounds of servos, but if you are looking for that next level, that little kind of edge, these are going to be definitely down your street. And I am guilty of this. I like upgrading all my trucks as much as I can, and it's a big part of the hobby and a big part of this channel. So what we're going to do now is dive down on the desk. I'm going to show you a couple of stock servos and why I've used them, why I think they're okay, and on top of which then I'll tell you the downsides to it. Then we're going to obviously look in and dive into what MKS has sent over and what my plans are and what you guys would like to see from these servos, and why possibly what's in this package here is going to be a good purchase for yourself, so you can make an informed decision. You can go away and possibly go ahead and buy yourself a really nice servo for one of your epic RCs that you love. All right, so let's dive down on the table and I'll see you below. Right guys, okay, so on the table, as you can see, we have got a selection of some stock servos, all right? And I wanted to go over the stock servos and explain to you why what's in this box is quite high end, all right? They are race spec servos that MKS have sent over. They are fully kind of used within team drivers, e.g. X-Ray, team associated, that sort of thing, and generally have good kilogram EG sort of strength, and also a very fast response time. Now, a caveat to this is, as you can see, I do have an AGF by there, and just quickly going from the right hand side of the screen to the left hand towards the center here. What you've got in front of you, guys, is the Habao HB5518. Now, this is an 18 kilogram servo, not very fast, and I did find when I was using this in my Habao ST, I was having a few glitches, I was having a few issues. They are plastic geared, plastic cased. It does have a metal horn on top. Sometimes you will find, obviously, a plastic horn on your RTR, but they're generally just fit for purpose, just to get you going, okay? So there's no kind of durability in mind with one of these. They will last a little while. Some people will have a good experience where maybe they'll get like a year, but eventually down the line, those plastic gears inside will kind of die on you. Now, a plastic gear case as well, unfortunately, with the motors, and oh, by the way, this is brushed as well. So with the motors that are inside you have brushed and brushless, just like you would with your RC cars. There's a little motor inside there that actually turns the gearing inside the servo, and actually that what you get then is obviously your movement from your signal wire out to your servo horn. EG then controls your wheels. Now, the plastic ones have a tendency of overheating, especially if you're driving through, let's say, thick grass or muddy conditions. What will happen is that little motor inside doesn't have a chance to breathe, and that essentially is what will kill your motor. So moving on then, obviously, as you know, I've been kind of really happy with some of the Spectrum servos. This one came out of my Creighton 4S. Now, generally, the Spectrum servos that I like using is the new S665. But what you can see here is, obviously, it's pretty much the same sort of affair. There is metal gearing inside this one. All right, so in that sense, is upgraded. You do have an aluminium case. But, again, the response time on these are decently quick. I wouldn't say they're brilliant, but it will definitely do the job for a longer amount of time than what the Habao one is. Then you've got this new Team Corrali DC32 that I've taken out my Kagama. And what I actually replaced in my Kagama was a Servos Monster, guys, okay? And the reason being, I have had a great experience with my Servos servo. I really, really like the way it works. And obviously I thought, well, rather than damaging this servo or having any issues, the plan was really to kind of take this out of the car, preserve it, but obviously because the Kagama LE is a limited edition. So there's that. But 32 kilograms, the response time is reasonably quick. And these, but I will say the only issue I've got with this servo in particular, it isn't a metal case servo. Now, this servo there isn't waterproofed, all right? This servo is waterproofed. So as time goes on, they keep adding these features. This is a good servo for an RTR servo, but I will say, obviously, I was looking for that kind of difference in performance, and that then leaves me on to the AGF I've got in front of me, the 45 kilogram. I really like this. It is a good servo, strong, metal geared, coreless, and obviously digital. As you can see, you get the fins on the side of the case there to help cool the insides, e.g. the motor down and the board. And then as time goes by, these have provided a really good experience when bashing about. But the difference is between this is you're talking possibly maybe £20 for this servo, £30 for this servo. Sometimes I've seen them as far as £45 for the Spectrum stuff. The Team Corrali one, I don't actually know the price on this, but I do know roughly it's kind of that little bit more than what the S662 is. And then obviously with the AGF and the Servos servo, obviously the price then shoots up to around about £120. So quite the big significant difference between the cost of this one and that one there. But you are going to get a better experience with obviously the AGF. Now, as I say, only recently, through the generosity of viewers of the channel, I've started trying out this. This was a gift, the AGF. The Servos was also a gift. So under no circumstances am I used to spending this sort of money. Now, when MKS reached out and obviously mentioned about the servos that are in here and the fact that obviously the specifications and the levels and the way they're made, it did make me wonder how much better obviously the MKS servos are to what let's say an AGF or a Servos are, and I fully intend on finding out. So let's just move these away. The plan is obviously I have been using the Servos servo in my Kagama LE recently, and I do have a little plan for some of the servos that they've sent over. So what I want to do is I've got a few trusted RCs that I want to try out and actually go ahead and then use these servos in. Guys, if you want to kind of give me some suggestions on which to put the cars to put them in, but I'll kind of give you my feedback on what I'm thinking about. So as you can see, they have sent over 4 absolutely awesome servos here. And these were kind of handpicked for me to do with my fleet that I've actually got. Now, MKS, guys, as I say, a full race bred, thoroughbred servos. These are made with strict quality control. They feature all the latest features, e.g. fully digital, fully coreless, brushless, very, very high spec, and also amazing response times. And for, as I mentioned, with team drivers, what they're looking for is the best of the best. Now, I'm very much intrigued to see how something like, let's say, this servo here, the 599, performs against some of the other servos I currently have. The other thing I want to mention as well, when you're looking at, let's say, you're picking out a servo, generally, something like maybe, let's say, an AGF there, or what we're talking about is, let's say, 662. The specifications sometimes can be, I wouldn't say kind of sweetened up, but they can sometimes not feel what they are. The difference is, I suppose, with a higher end servo is these are tried, tested over and over again in a factory, quality controlled, within an inch of their life, and then sent out to the guys who are competing for world titles. So, you know, as you can imagine, specifications are key. What you see and what I'll be reading out to you is very, very important for the guys out there who are racing. Now, I'm not a racer, as you know, I am just a basher, but it is very much a privilege to get my hands on something like this, because they're not cheap. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, if you're looking for some of the best servos on the planet, you're kind of heading in the right direction with some of what's in front of you. Now, we'll quickly go over start to finish. The plan is for me, let's start off with this. We're going to move those out of the way. This is the HV50P, which is a high-performance servo for your 1/12 scale cars, guys. It's a micro servo. Let's just open the packaging up here. I haven't got any fancy knife. We're just going to use my craft knife to get into the box. Okay. Now, a lot of pan cars will be 1/12. A lot of competitive rally cars will be 1/12. You've also got very much sort of touring car classes, again 1/12 scale. Some of the buggies are 1/12 scale. So even though a smaller servo like this one is essentially, you know, obviously people will think, oh, well, a bigger servo is going to be better. There's still drivers and people out there that want the best of the best. So it does come in this lovely presentation box, as you can see, nicely done. On the back here, just to give you the dimensions. Now, this servo, I believe, let's just check the specs out so I can see. Voltage is up to 8.2 for a micro servo. That's absolutely amazing, because I think the highest I've ever seen is a 7.4 so far. Torque ranges up to 8.3. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, guys. 8.3 kilograms doesn't sound like a lot, but if you can imagine, with the 1/12 scale cars, there isn't a lot of resistance because they're so light. So 8 kilograms is actually pretty damn tough, to be honest with you. Then you've also got the speed spec. So let's just quickly talk over the specifications. You've got voltage ranges from 3.7 to 6 to 7.4 to 8.2. All right. You've also got torque then at 3.7 is 3.75, 6, 6.1, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.3 kilograms, okay? Response time, and this is the key thing for many guys who are going to utilize something like this, okay, is response time. You want the fastest steering so you can make adjustments on that track, or e.g. when you're out using your vehicle, as quick as you possibly can. So that as quick as, let me just grab a handset, bear with me. The whole idea with this is as soon as you turn the wheel on your steering wheel, you want this servo to respond. So you want as low as possible response time. So the idea is as you're telling the steering wheel, let's say turn right, you want this to respond as quick as you can. Now, so to give this a kind of perspective, at 3.7 volts, it is 1.5. At 6, 0.97. So just to kind of let you know, anything under 1 second, guys, or 1 millisecond, should we call it, is definitely fast. Some of the fastest servos that I got are 11 milliseconds. Sorry, 0.11 milliseconds. So this is 0.97 at 6, 0.79 at 7.4, and then 8.2 volts, you're looking at 0.07, which is absolutely crazy for a small servo like this. Now, the plan is, I haven't actually got it on the channel yet, but I was intending on using this on either my LC Racing rally car, giving it a try, because obviously I myself personally, I want something that's fast and also durable. Because I've got a tendency, to be honest with you, to dump my cars into a wall quite often. But I just basically want to kind of get a really kind of nice... You get that feedback when you're driving. You get the kind of the feel of the car. You know the way you're pointing your steering is where the car is going to go, as long as you've got your tuning right. So the model number of this one, as I mentioned, is HV50P. Really nice servo, and obviously good for your 1/12 scale cars. So that's that one. Next up, we've got the... actually, let's go with this one. So this is the HBL 5550 Ultra Torque Servo. This is, again, fully metal cased, fully brushless, coreless and digital. All right, so you've got a really high spec servo here. Again, the idea is with a metal casing is to cool the servo down when you're using it. So obviously that motor, all that strain that's going through the servo, you've got more chance of the motor not failing on you, because obviously the motor hasn't got too hot in there. So specifications wise, on this one in particular, at 6 volts, you've got 6 up to 8.2 again, metal gear, high quality brushless motor. The weight of the servo is 79.5 grams. The voltage range, as I mentioned, is up to 8.2. So at 6 volts, torque, you're looking at 29 kilograms. At 7.4, 36, and at 8.2, 38 kilograms, so which is absolutely crazy. That is definitely going to keep your wheels in a straight line, so that's a good thing. Now, response time, 6 volts, you're looking at 0.11. Now, put this in perspective here. For me, I use JX EcoBoost, which is just a cheap and cheerful generic brand on a lot of my cars, and because essentially they've provided me with a faster response time. At 7.4 volts, I was getting 0.11. All right, at 6 volts, I'm getting 0.11. So at 7.4, this one is 0.9, and then at 8.2, 0.85. So you've got crazy torque, but really good response time. As I say, full metal cased, really beautiful looking. As you can see, you've got the MKS Propo at the bottom, obviously fully proportional. At the top, all the screws, everything is absolutely beautiful. The case, really deep heat fins, or heat stacks there to help cool that motor off. The machining is absolutely top notch, and this is part of the X5 range. Really, really nice. It does come with some servo horns in the bottom. You've got some stickers. Whether you guys will use that, I don't know, because to be honest with you, I never end up using these, but there might be some guys out there that will. And you also get a little bit of information, some more stickers. So yeah, really nice that they've added that in. So that is the HBL 550. We've got two more to look at here, guys. And as I say, the plan is actually for these now. I wanted one to go in my Mojave. I think it'd be a good idea. As you know, recently I've just put my Servos into my Kagama LE. Now, the Servos is, for me, a very trusted servo, and it works really well, and I get absolutely awesome steering. So I want to, now I've used the Servos in the Kagama, I know how it feels. I want to actually move one of these servos into that car. With the Mojave side of it, I'm doing a build, and I want to kind of top it off and give it that next level feeling. And so again, I'm going to use one of these servos in. I want one to go into my team associated RCA T4E Truggy, and the reason behind which is obviously I am going to be planning on putting a fully censored system into that car, and I want to make it as fast and controllable as I possibly can. Now it's an amazing Truggy anyway, but especially with a race spec servo, I think it'll take it to that next level. Right, so moving on, the next one we've got, guys, is the HBL 575, which is a high-speed base servo. It's part of their X6 range. Now, guys, the prices on these in the UK will probably make some of you guys squint. But I will say what you get in here is a quality product. So if you are kind of hunting for that kind of next level, definitely go ahead and look at something like this, because as much as they're expensive, what you're getting is kind of the best of the best. Specifications wise, on the back of the box this time, torque at 6 volts is 18 kilograms. So bearing in mind this isn't one of their torquier servos, but the response time is ridiculous on this. 7.4, 22 kilograms. 24 kilograms is at 8.2. So where I would normally run my servos is 7.4, so I'll get 22 kilograms. I think this will be more than adequate for the RCA T4E. At the moment, I've actually only got a 21 kilogram in there, and the reason being is that truck is really, really light. Response time, this is where things get totally crazy with this servo, is speed is 0.08 at 6 volts. At 7 volts, it's 0.6. All right. And then, sorry, 0.66. And then at 8.2, 0.6, which is absolutely ridiculous response time, honestly. Again, all metal, cased, really, really made to the highest standards, fully machined. I believe it's 7075 on here as well, so full aluminium case, strong, tough and light, and as you can see, very, very nice looking. They all are quality passed as well, so all the servos tested within factory before they come out to you. Again, MKS Pro at the bottom, full race spec servo. I'm really kind of delighted to get my hand on this one in particular, because I did look at the specs of this and think, well, yeah, that's going to be absolutely badass in my team associated. Now, prices, as I say, don't let that put you off, guys. I mean, I know a lot of people will, but I would like to think a lot of people who watch this channel are very much into their upgrades. Guys, if you're enjoying the content here on ChriswithaC, consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and yeah, enjoy more content that's coming up. It costs you nothing, it means the world to me. Sorry about that, guys. I'm all this talk about high-spec servos, and then, of all things, my camera overheats. So, yeah, I do apologise. Right, so yeah, bouncing back, we were on the HBL 599. Now, as I mentioned, obviously, the whole point of these servos is so you can get the maximum out of your RC. So yeah, I think that's where I was at. We were talking about money and why you would pick a servo like this over, let's say, maybe a Servos or AGF. You know, maybe you're happy with those, but me personally, I'm constantly hunting for bigger and better, and it's nice. It's not a kind of, oh, look at me, I've got this scenario. It's generally trying to maximize the performance out of your truck or your buggy or so on and so forth. And like I say, if race teams out there can kind of get behind a company like this, yeah, I'm up for that. And at some point, I wouldn't mind trying racing again. So yeah, it is nice that obviously I'm able to look at these things. Though the HBL 599 is a ultra torque servo. It's part of their X6 range again. Now the specifications of this inside the box this time around, again, exactly the same sort of casing, really machined nicely, made out of billet aluminium. So obviously you've got your big cooling stacks and everything else is going on there. So the specs on this one are voltage gain up to 8.2, torque 30 kilograms at 6, 38 kilograms at 7.4, and a massive 42 kilograms at 8.2. Then the speed, again, no slouch at all this. At 6 volts, 0.11, 7.4, 0.9, and at 8.2, 0.8. So you've got 42 kilograms and a 0.08 response time. Now, emphasizing response time, guys, is definitely something you should look at, because when I first came back into the hobby after very much a hiatus, the thing for me is I started putting obviously aftermarket servos in. I went to the places like AliExpress, and I'm not knocking any guy, by the way, any guy that uses these kind of cheaper servos, more power to you. If that's what you want to do, good for you guys. But I always found that, yes, the servo was okay up to an extent. You put it under an extreme condition, e.g. crash landing on the front wheel, and then that servo would give out. But the other thing was, a lot of the time these servos, they didn't give you, like, I like my steering to kind of flicker back and forth nice and quickly. You can respond quickly using your hand. So the whole point is translating your hand movement to the servo as quick as you possibly can. So if you get into a sticky situation where you need to respond and get your car out of, let's say, a turn-in, or you know, you're about to miss and hit a ramp and you want to make that slight adjustment, or even when you're racing, you want to get around a competitor in front of you, you kind of got the racing line and you want to hold that line in nicely and then maneuver your way back out into the middle of the field, these servos definitely will help you. Now, again, quite an expensive servo, very highly machined, very well made, and obviously the gears and everything. No, I'm not do RC. I'm not going to strip this servo down and show you the gearing inside. That isn't me, all right? What I will do, though, is take these out in the field and try all these servos out and let you guys kind of see what I'm seeing. Now, again, with this, so the plan is here, is we are going to, this is my personal plan. I think this would be a good candidate. So the 575 would be a good candidate for the RCA T4E. Then we've got the 599, which I think will be an absolutely awesome candidate for the Kagama LE. And then we've got the HBL 550, which for me is going to be a absolutely brilliant servo for my Mojave 6S M2C Beefcake Edition. And then this one here, I think I'm going to decide. Okay, so I have got a bunch of 12 scale cars that I'm going to probably put the test it out in. I think personally, though, the LC Racing would be the candidate for this, because again, racing chassis, nice and quick. I want a fast servo, and yeah, just enjoy the car for what it is. So I hope you enjoyed going through the specs. Yes, it is a little bit technical. Probably some of you will switch off or maybe move on to the end of the video. the guys who have stuck with me going through the specifications, I hope you've enjoyed it, because me personally, I geek out on stuff like this, and I really enjoy the kind of deep diving into what these are. Now, I would love to open one up, but I think I don't want to, until I've run the servo myself, I want to leave it how it came out of the factory, and maybe at a later date what we'll do is take one of the servos out of the car and we'll take it apart and see what makes this tick. But let's go up top now, and then we'll talk about the servos, and hopefully you guys can let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Welcome back, guys. Okay, so yeah, a little bit geeky this one. I hope you enjoyed, obviously, a deep dive into these MKS servos. Like I say, I do things a little bit differently here. As you know, I tend to showcase what I've been sent, and by the way, massive privilege. Thank you very much, MKS, for sending these over for the purpose of these videos. You will see a lot more to do with these servos. Obviously, you guys can make an informed decision at home. I'm going to, for example, I think I've kind of made my mind up. If you guys know my fleet and you're a regular viewer, let me know in the comments what you think I should put them into. But me personally, I think the Kigamarelli would be an absolute awesome candidate for that servo, because as I say, I've got my Servos in there at the moment, so very much like that servo, so I'd like to see how the car performs with it in. The RCA T4E, no brainer, full race spec kit. It would definitely be a good idea to have one in there, because the plan is I want to kind of build that up and get that ready to go racing at some point, because there are a few outdoor tracks here in the UK that I want to kind of visit. Yeah, I did have other options in my head as well. I've got my Techno SET 410 2.0, and as I say, obviously there's a Techno down there. You've got the buggy, but I am currently, let's just show you guys, I am building up this absolutely epic Armour Mojave with all the M2C parts on. So I think this build would really kind of benefit from a really nice servo in. And to be honest with you, I use that truck a lot, so I want something that's fast, reliable and responsive. I will put links in the description to where you can actually pick these servos up, guys. Again, huge thank you, MKS, for honouring me and sending over these servos for testing. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this something that you would pick up? What's your experience? What's your favourite servo? Let me know down below, guys. And if you're enjoying the videos, don't just consider subscribing. Honestly, hit the like button as well, because all this, guys, costs you nothing and means the absolute world to me. Till next time, check the box for more videos. Stay awesome. I'll catch you later.